Okay.
That's what me look coy.
I don't look forward. I think I can. I'm trying to.
Okay. I'm just going to go that way.
I'm just thinking, I'm never going to get round your trying to get to the front of the church.
This was going to be getting up and
That's why I wanted to go and first. Actually, if you sort of walk, you're going to be walking in the circle again, it's right there. Yeah.
Oh wow. We should get out the other sunshade.
Never do it again.
And I'll turn around when you finish. You're out.
Yeah, I know, it doesn't work.
Are you wearing those shoes you got in England?
I got three in England, but they got a little higher heels than the other one.
Sunny.
Gives a smile.
Yeah. Hang on. Are you going to use it when you're here?
That's Susie.
Not the best view. Not the best view of Rotten. Okay, now see those pear-shaped poles hanging down there? Those are called tacks. And what is that? Up to where the little mark on the
Hello, Susie.
Read it. Read that strap that's going around the tummy. That's what's underneath that. And there's a buckle hanging off the collar. Buckle it onto there. It's about 4 holes. 4 holes from the sharp end. Like that. Like if you bring it, if that strap is moving about the above, we can undo it and tie it on the front of the terrace. If it pulls on the
Zooming in.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just for the picture. Oh, I need two?
Yeah, well.
Okay. Can you go on?
What are you doing? Just crack it and that's it.
Parasol over by the... Huh? Yeah, come try it. Just relax. How do I do it? Does it see that? No, he's supposed to have a bit of a pose.
It doesn't go with the dress.
No.
I feel like I've got to...
Get the girl a drink, she needs to relax.
Yeah, I need to relax.
That's it, that's good.
Got made in China on.
You're maiden from China. Okay, look up this time, dude.
I'm gonna melt.
You look like it too. Okay.
Just a minute, she's gone through this.
Alright. This way, this way. Carol.
Mother!
Here she comes.
Like one of those Cinderella jokes. It's like one of those little Alice in Wonderland deals.
Put your one hand behind your back, put your feet together.
One hand behind the back, feet together.
Feet together.
Get
That's
together.
the one, that's the thing, any leg, that's it.
Here comes the sun again.
That's alright. Okay, look this way. That's very good. You almost look salty.
That's the time, so I won't. Oh, you're being very patient.
2 o'clock.
We should have sellotape.
Central Standard Time.
Just sellotape it on me.
Oh, well.
Just my butt in somebody.
Hey, we need another pen on
need to wait.
Hold her anyway, that's it. You got it. That's it.
Bye. Wearing your sunglasses.
Okay.
Does Carol want to put her hand behind Debbie's back too, just to make it a bit, that's it, yeah.
Okay, that's good. Look proud, smile. Have to give her a book the wheel all the way down there.
Look at that green colour, Lee. Somebody grab this.
Should have hired a truck with a hoister in the back of it.
Can you close me in?
Hey, can you give us all a run up to the...
Will you close us in? I'm gonna put her. Not bad.
Have a drink for your old.
I think Tony's probably still there.
We're only allowed to go pick up two.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Go.
Have they?
How's all the makeup? All nice?
Okay, good.
Well, we're going to get round there. As soon as we get here, we're off. We're round.
Bridesmaid's job.
This jacket back here.
Oh, that's mine. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, there's a jacket on the hood.
Hang on, I'm standing on it. Let me get my train.
John's jacket. I said, I thought it looked like a jacket.
Jan,
And there's a...
this is for Tony.
Lee, is this all sitting all right?
Swing the wheels over.
Here.
In. Oh, you're looking out? Yeah. Oh. Now your left foot on the bottom through there.
There you go.
You going to put your veil over?
No, I'm not wearing veil, am I?
Oh,
Yeah. What colour veils are there?
So, yeah,
Post looks terrible, John.
She's all downhill. Wait till we get... Oh, the sun was... Yeah. Walk on up a bit. Walk on.
That'll do for starting.
You're all right?
This is awfully sweet of you because I haven't seen you for ages. You must think I'm an absolute
Come over, Susie.
No peeking. No peeking.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Slower. It's going to go really slow. I do like this. Really, really slow. Okay.
Lift your head straight up, please. Lift your head.
Sharing everything. Will you stand by her no matter what happens, respecting her as a person, understanding her needs, and enjoying her love until death parts you? Debbie, do you love and trust Tony and want to live with him, sharing everything? Debbie, will you stand by him no matter what happens, respecting him as a person, understanding his needs, and enjoying his love until death parts you?
Help us serve and enjoy our life. Take
to be with you in the moment's walk, in comfort and hardship, and health and sickness, and sorrow and joy, and the love and seeking in the God.
Let these rings say to all that your commitment is deep and everlasting.
our constant affection and love. Yes, and forever.
Contemplating the love of Jesus in every single word, all I have, I share with you.
Tony and Debbie, you have expressed the love you have for each other and your hopes for the future. You have made promises to each other and have symbolised them by joining hands and giving rings. You are now husband and wife. May the God and Father of our Lord Jesus Christ bless, preserve and keep you. May he give you light to guide you and love to unite you, that you may be faithful to the vows you have made this day. and live together in joy and peace till your lives end. Would you stand now and sing?
Now.
Big one. Come on, let's have a big one. A big one.
Mr. Max?
You've obviously had a work you just
We're arrived too. We nearly forgot. Oh, we went. They demonstrated and left them on the camera.
Hey, buddy. Good mate, yourself? All right, thanks, Wendy. We'll shake your hands.
Yes, I'd rather be boating. I told Tony all about this. Preferences. Rubbish in the pocket. Yeah, that's just how my boating is going. No, we're right now. Just off Meadow. Got a place for kids. Almost forget them. It's out on Wednesday. It's that's my references. They are customers. I thought I'd just, yeah, that's the big one that he is holding up. Yeah. Beautiful. I'll just bring that to show Graham. The second last day we got a load like that.
Aaron, up here. Aaron.
9 pounder. Oh, that's a good fish.
That's a small. You're going to get a dribble, I think.
Yep. That's great. Thank you. One more. Thank you. And who else we got?
No, neither. Why?
He's at a final. Get Warren.
Right, Sandra. Look in the front. Okay. Now. Hiya.
Alright, how are you getting back?
They're right. Right, same problem. That's the problem. That's the problem. Hey, no. My brother does the why you doing the only appearance.
Now. Waiting. Waiting.
See, if you sell it in Australian dollars, so
Thank you, dear. Thank you.
No, I think I've got it.
So you want the mad butcher out of it?
well, he's made a lot of money out of it.
I think it's amazing.
At the same time, the foodies are.
Video. Wow. It is. You're on television.
All that about to be shot.
You mustn't highlight that.
You taking all the video?
Oh dear.
He sold the back lot to got it. The next time I do one, I'll finish my problem.
One of the bride's mother, she's beautiful.
Are you really? Way to go, see, we're all sitting here. What are you doing looking at me like that? Hello. I got one of those as well. Why's John got hair on his forehead like that instead of mine? I'm younger than him and I haven't got forehead.
You worry more than me, mate. How come your baby's got a full glass of beer and I've only got a half?
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise and welcome the bride and groom.
He's actually quite a nice guy.
Yeah, but I said the whole thing.
It's my favourite tune.
Please be seated. Probably will not. But Debbie has asked me to be your toastmaster this afternoon. And I'm to this show what Peter Williams is to a test match. That is the anchor man. They're all carefully scripted. Now she'd asked for the services of Michael J. Fox, but he said it would make him look too grown up, and nor could she afford his fee. Now it's been implied that this should be a moderately informal breakfast, but the usual proprieties will be observed. So I'll outline the order of program. Following the prayers of grace, your entree will be served on the table. Looks like we've got some of it already. We'll then stem our, well, once we've eaten the grace, I just have a wee sip. Once we've had our entree, we'll have to stem our appetite for a little while we have some action-packed speeches. Now these speeches have been carefully scripted in Hollywood, so you can hear some great stuff this afternoon. Make no mistake about it. The telegram should be read then, but I haven't actually heard whether there are any, seeing this week we not only got rid of the armed services, my Uncle Derek, but we've evidently got rid of the post office as well, by Uncle Roger, so I don't know, are there many telegrams now? There are two. It's wonderful, isn't it? Two top marks from the P&T. What?
The telegram's got through.
A telegram gets through. Yeah. Now, I can suggest we have some limericks at this stage, Debbie. No limericks.
No limericks.
The main course should be ready. Now, this will be served buffet style. You'll collect your salad, and I believe it's beef Wellington and a fish dish of some sort. Buffet is ladies and children first, and family hold back. Is that understood? By then?
Wait. Hey, light the candles, I want some light. Light the candles.
He carried a dear old friend to his last resting place yesterday, and he's flat on his back today with something gone wrong with his back. So I'm here. Right, bear with him. This is a very special day for you because it is your wedding day, but it is also for me. It holds a lot of memories. I guess the first is of a pretty little 5-year-old girl in a checkered dress with a real cute accent coming into the office at Cleveland School for enrolment. Charlie Butterworth, I think a few of you here will remember him. He was my boss then, he was the headmaster. And I remember both of us, we were enchanted with this special new entrant from the other side of the world. I stayed in the office for the next 4 years, this time through her mum, my dear treasured friend, Carol. Carol came to work with us, and it was then we discovered so many parallels in our lives. It was quite uncanny. We were both only daughters. We were the oldest child in the family, both born in the same year, and each lost our loved dads far too soon. Our own only daughters were born within 24 hours of each other. On the other side of the world, with 2 days between, but we worked out that with the day, the time, we worked out we'd done something together. The girls both went through Cleveland School and then through Auckland University. It is over these last 12 years that Debbie has become like another daughter to us. We watched over the student years at uni, holiday jobs, she worked for us in the office, pony club days, hunt days, letters from Long Island and South Carolina when she went back to see grandmothers, aunts, uncles and cousins. And then a certain young man came to live in Cleveland with his family. Their first meeting was not the start of the romance. That was to come later, but this one is remembered. Debbie, I think this is right, Debbie, you were home on weekend study with exams looming, and by this time, home was high up on the mountain road in our lovely Ness Valley. Debbie was home by herself. It was, I think, a wet, windy day, and a knock on the door, and a big, tall young man in a swan dry looming over her asked if there was a man in the house. Debbie was rather apprehensive, but she went to help, I think it was a motorbike or a car, I'm not sure, but went to retrieve a motorbike. He had had a slight mishap with up that notorious Otown Mountain Road, Momaka Hill Road. She afterwards, I heard she said to her mum, "Gee, I wish I'd
like to reply to Jane or concur with my observation. Tony, the floor's yours.
Comedian, thank God. But Jan, I'd like to thank you very much for that absolutely wonderful speech. I didn't know you remembered all that. It was a secret. I'd like to thank the bridesmaid, and especially the bride's parents, very much for being here. I'd also like to thank 6 or 7 hours ago, people wouldn't have known there was going to be a wedding here, but it's all come off very, very nicely. There's been quite a lot of effort gone into this place in the last 24 hours. I'd also like to thank June. You've made a tremendous job with the food, although we haven't sampled it yet, but it'll be here soon, I'm sure. I'd also like to thank my mother and father, who have made a great job of looking after me. A big galoot. They've eaten too much over his life. It's cost him a fortune. And the bridesmaid for looking after my wife. She's made a tremendous job of presenting her today as what she is. And I'd also like you all to propose your glasses for a toast to the bridesmaid and to everybody that I've mentioned actually. It's a very special day for me and for Debbie. So if you all like to charge your glasses.
Correct order. Is that now for the best man who's been to reply to that toast to the bridesmaid? The best man's job is of course to look after the bridesmaid, but he's sitting far too far away from it to do anything about it. So, but nevertheless, if he could do so and read those 2 telegrams, we're all waiting to see the latest from the P&T. Reply to the
I'll do that.
doing the bridesmaid bit. Well,
Thanks for saying all those kind words about me and Sue. And Sue does look. Telegrams now.
Well, go ahead. I mean, they're a dying art. You embarrass
This is dear Debbie and Tony. My wife and I extend our best wishes for your future and happiness with our warmest greetings, William Covey. Is that right? There was another one here somewhere.
Yeah, the fuss. On the right hand.
Yeah, come across. Other side, son. Strip off!
Here's the card.
Good man.
You got 2 there.
Yeah, oh, it's 2 bits of paper here. To Debbie and Tony, best wishes for a wonderful day and a future full of happiness. Love, Kathy and Craig Maxwell. Is that thing? Second bit of paper here. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. But what will the pair be doing tonight?
Tell us.
I had another version of this story about how Tony and Debbie met on their first occasion. One night, it's not another version, same story, but one night Tony left the house after work one night on the farm motorbike and decides he'd go for a ride up Ness Valley. He goes flying up the top of Ness Valley and decides to turn around and come back down again. It was pretty steep and pretty windy road. And this time on his journey back down, he's coming down fast, real fast, too fast. Next thing he knows, he's flying off a 20-foot cliff and lands in some scrub. Anyway, he decides to climb back up the cliff, walk up the road and find a telephone. So he walks up the road, and after a while he finds this house. Looks a bit like Auckland Zoo. Walks up to the house, trips over a few pigs and goats. Knocks on the door and who's there but a young lady by the name of Debbie Mahone. And as far as Tony's concerned, or from what he's told me, their eyes met and it was a case of love at first sight. So that's probably the reason why they're getting married today.
Very good. Which reminds me, I only see 2 children here, Tony and Debbie. They'll do something about that. Now, the next toast is to the bride's parents, Carol and Jim, who I'm very pleased to say are both here today. It's a great pleasure to see you here again, Jim and Carol. And that will be proposed by my father, John Quigley. John.
Thank you, Michael. It's a great pleasure to propose the toast to Carol and Jim, the bride's parents. I've known them about as long as Jan has, I think, and we first met through horses, and we've been on pony club treks and things like that, and Carol has always been the mainstay of a pony club trek, and Jim holds the fort at home when Carol's away. I don't think Jim's too keen on the 1 horsepower business. He seemed a little bit nervous this afternoon when he climbed aboard 1 horsepower.
If your legs are a bit shorter, you'll be all right.
Oh, they're very safe, Jim, really. Besides, the cargo door doesn't fall out anyway. And put a saddle on her horse and take it for a lead along the road to get it used to traffic. But one day it was raining and she came out with the saddle over the top of her head and dumped it on the wrong horse, reached underneath, pulled up the girth and tied it up and stood back, and it was the wrong horse. So she said, well, he didn't object to that, so I'll climb on and see if he objects to anybody climbing on the saddle. Up she got and went off for a ride. And so the horse was broken in after that. And there's another little story about Carol and a pony club trek. And after Carol had zipped children up into their sleeping bags and put them all to bed, it was getting fairly late, and she hadn't organised anywhere for herself to sleep. But out in the paddock there was an old bathtub. So in went a bit of hay, and in went Carol, and she was asleep in no time. But the trouble was, in the middle of the night it started to rain, and we didn't know whether the plug was in the bottom or not. So we couldn't move Carol, so we just got a sheet of canvas and put over the top and left her there. In the morning she was still there, fast asleep under the canvas and quite dry.
Well, I just want to take this occasion and thank everybody for showing up, especially the bride and groom. Good to start. I've only arrived yesterday and I only had one day to meet my future son-in-law, but he cooked tea last night, so I reckon Debbie's on to a winner there. Done a good job too. I'd just like to thank again Mr. and Mrs. White, for I understand they did a terrific job, and Mr. and Mrs. Quigley, who have done a terrific job. And probably be a good time now to plug John's gig and bridal service there. If anybody's getting married in the future, contact John. I tried to talk John to going into the funeral business too. Give him horse a coat of black paint and a black top hat, and could double his trade, you know. But,
this afternoon, I haven't got any notes or that to talk about. I don't really need many notes to talk about Dot and Graham. I have known them just about all my life. I was nearly reared with Dot and the Davison family, so I'm very familiar with Dot, and of course I have known Graham since they've been married, which is some considerable time now. One might say what one likes about young people nowadays, whether they're an improvement or not on the older generation. There's probably a mixture here, so one's got to be careful what one says. But I think, really speaking, when you look at Tony there today, one must, you know, at the risk of losing my friends with Graham and Dot, one must really say that I think there's distinctly an improvement coming through. I think that is because of the background that he has, the family that he's had supporting him
grandparents and that, right through both the grandparents on both sides. And I heard a lady over here describe his old world courtesy, I think it was, or some similar words. That was an apt description of Tony. He has been brought up the proper and correct way, with manners and morals, which unfortunately in New Zealand today are missing in a lot of cases. And indeed, I do think that Tony is the example of young manhood that we should be seeing coming through, and I think we can feel proud of. I think he's probably lucky that he's not like Graham, when poor Graham had to go and ask for Dot's hand, of course. Different type of a character. He's a right old son. He says, leave your name and address, and if nothing better comes along, I'll get in touch. He was fairly safe because, of course, there really aren't many people better than what Graham is. He's been a magnificent father, and Dot's been a magnificent mother. And, of course, I think anyone that's known the Whites in the last few years have known how the whole family has worked as a family unit. And I think all of us who know them are very, very proud. But I think, Tony, what you've got to watch out, though, is that Graham was telling me when Dot and them first got married, you've got to watch who has the checkbook. You know, he was telling me that. He come home one day, he said to Dot, he said, good heavens, Dot, he said, you've overdrawn the account. And Dot said, don't worry, I've just written out another cheque to cover it. And then, of course, the worst to come was, of course, when the cheque came back, he said, good heavens, he returned our cheque to us. And Dot says, oh, good, what can we buy with this one again? So, you've got to watch out what happened, because
No, I like that.
I think the only thing Dot says to me one day, she says, you know, she says, it was much easier to forgive Graham once I've got even with him. So I think that's an example you should use, because I think, you know, you really have got a wonderful set of parents there, and I think both of you know it. I think we all know it. We don't really have to say too much about Dot and Graham, because they truly are a magnificent couple, and if I never know anyone else, I think I'll have known the best people in the world. And Dot and Graham, I think I'd like everyone to stand up. No, we're not standing this time, are we?
Well, we might.
But I really would like, and it's been tradition on perhaps on our side of the family, I don't know the other, but I really would like you to sing. If I start off for their jolly good fellows, I wonder if you'd allow us to sing that, Mr.
Certainly, why not?
But Dot and Graham, everyone.
Oh, they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows. And so say all of us, and so say all of us, and so say all of us.
Graham, you're to do better than all of us. It's your turn now, sir.
John, I've got to thank you for those words. I'm not sure they're all quite true, but both Dot and I appreciate everybody being here. It's the last one, but it's been probably the best one. Not sort of degrading the other two, but I think as you go further you get better and better. And people have said about the effort that's gone in, and I think Bryce and myself really started a new apprenticeship yesterday in how to do things that we're not quite used to. We had a couple of good instructors in the audience here, and we had to toe the line quite severely. But anyway, I also would like to welcome Debbie into the family. It's now a foursome, and she and Tony, I think, will really make a go of it. It's very heartening to Dot and myself to see them both out in their flower patch, working their backsides off in the rain or the hail or the shine. And also learning how to do the moans and the groans about the rejections and things that don't go quite right. And I think that's all part of living. So I think Mr. and Mrs. Quigley should deserve the biggest thank you of anybody here for us destroying their front lawn or whatever we do on the way out or in.
Well, it's been our absolute pleasure, Graham.
Well, it's not over yet. We've got to get on.
Bet your boots it's not over.
Once again, thanks everybody, and Dot and I really appreciate the support we get from family and friends. It's been good. Thanks a lot.